Hey, Suge, thank you for calling back.
Hey, I'd like to say this too real quick. You got a woman that works for you is really incredible.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. People that follow me understand it's from my mouth to God's ear. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's from my mouth to God's ear.
How did one of Hollywood's calmest stars lose it in court? And why did Suge Knight's shocking words leave everyone silent, with Diddy clearly shaken?
Say this too real quick. You got a woman that works for you is really incredible. You don't find too many people.
I thought you were about to implicate her in the investigation. I'm just glad you're not implicating Dusty in the investigation, Suge, because I can't take that.
No, she's not in the investigation.
All right,
but what
good.
I want to do for her is, I want to. Hey, look, hey, I got to do this for her, but I want to turn her on to this clothing line called Girls Mondays to Sunday, Girl Monday to Sunday, and I'm definitely gonna look out for her because I buy a lot of for a lot of people from that place. But look, what I was basically trying to say is this: I respect your show and respect what you're doing, but the most important thing is it's got to be a solution, because this has been going on in the industry for a whole bunch of years, for decades.
Cassie tells the story how D-Rock and Puff put on this all black stuff and took the guns out because they saw that Suge Knight may not have had or heard somebody, because that's how they do. You know, your man them is on the street, they out there, and they'll give a phone call. Yo, the nigga Suge is right here, man. Seem like the nigga probably be by himself or whatever like that. You know, because some of us big dogs, we run by ourselves.
The moment Cassie's testimony began, everything changed. Her calm, steady voice cut through the room like a knife. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, photographers, and curious onlookers filled every inch of space. Tension hung in the air, making every sound feel louder. When Diddy walked in, all eyes turned. A music icon, dressed sharp, looking confident. He gave a quick nod to his lawyers and sat down, straight-backed and composed. For a while, it seemed nothing could shake him. But as the trial moved forward, that cool, confident image started to slip. And when it slipped, it didn't just crack, it broke. At first, he sat still, listening closely, barely reacting to the legal back and forth. But cameras caught the tiny signs, his jaw tightening, his eyes shifting toward Cassie in the gallery. Then came the turning point. Her legal team laid out their case. Testimony, evidence, every word was clear and cutting. It all came together in a way that deeply shook Diddy. His calm front vanished. He leaned forward, rubbing his hands, his face darkening. Then during a particularly intense part of the testimony, Diddy completely lost his calm. He shook. His head muttered under his breath, and leaned in to whisper urgently with his lawyers. Witnesses later said he looked clearly rattled, and one reporter even noted he seemed like he was barely holding himself together. For someone like Diddy, that was shocking. He spent years building a reputation for staying cool under pressure. From the heated East Coast-West Coast battles in hip-hop to his ruthless success in business, he's always been known as the guy who never cracks. So watching him break down in court was hard to believe. This wasn't the Diddy the world was used to. He wasn't yelling or slamming the table, but his body language said it all. At one point, he buried his face in his hands, rubbing his temples like he was trying to block out everything around him. Emotional breakdowns in court aren't rare, especially in high-stakes cases like this. Legal experts and mental health professionals often say, even in high-pressure cases, people usually hold it together. But for Diddy, who spent decades in the spotlight, this kind of visible distress was unexpected. What could have shaken him so deeply? The answer came fast. Cassie's legal team revealed a shocking piece of evidence, something no one in the room saw coming. Instantly, the atmosphere changed. Diddy, who had been trying to keep his eyes forward, suddenly froze. His face shifted, from frustration to pure disbelief. Whatever they showed hit hard. And in that moment, everyone saw a side of him that wasn't in control anymore. But here's the twist. Diddy's reaction wasn't even the most dramatic moment of the day. That came next, when Suge Knight suddenly walked into the courtroom. His surprise arrival shifted the energy completely. Eyes turned, the room fell into silence, and tension shot through the roof. What did Suge say? Why was he standing with Cassie of all people? And even more chilling, what did he know about Diddy that made him show up right then, in the middle of it all?
Early on, you can't just look at Diddy in isolation. You said this was done to him. He learned from others, and it was done to him, and then he did to others. To me, that sounds like what I hear when people are talking about abusive situations, hurt people, that someone was sexually abused, they wind up being a perpetrator. Is that what you're suggesting about Sean Combs, that he was sexually abused and he now sexually abuses?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think he repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Rail, you know the truth. Clyde Davis, you know the truth. Jimmy Iovine, you know the truth. So there's not certain things that all of a sudden you got this. The industry is a quick business. It's been like that for a long time. And the casting couch is real, but it's for women and men. But far from all that, I think the most important thing is I feel like they should let Puffy tell his truth. I'm quite sure he's going to expose a lot of people. I'm sure he's going to move forward with it. But I don't think it should be a situation like the Epstein thing where they found him hanging from the ceiling or dead before the truth come out.
Do you believe
I think
that
the truth needs to be...
Tension in the courtroom was already sky high, but when Suge Knight walked in, it felt like the air vanished. It wasn't just that he appeared. It was how he did it. No warning, just that powerful, unmistakable presence only Suge Knight brings. For years he's been a giant figure in hip-hop, both feared and respected. As the founder of Death Row Records, Suge helped shape the raw sound of West Coast rap, all while building a reputation as one of the most intense and controversial forces in the industry. And his history with Diddy? It's about as tangled and hostile as it gets. Back in the 90s, Suge and Diddy stood on opposite ends of the East Coast versus West Coast war, a feud that divided record labels, sparked rivalries, and turned deadly. Diddy stood for Bad Boy's sleek, party-driven sound, while Suge was the face of Death Row's raw, street-level intensity. There were jabs in interviews, whispers of threats, and constant rumors of moves being made behind the scenes. Their feud was legendary, and even after all these years, it's hard to picture them ever being on the same side. So, when Suge walked into the courtroom and seemed to side with Cassie, the whole place froze. Reporters started whispering, and people leaned forward just to get a better look. Even Cassie's own legal team looked briefly stunned. Suge wasn't there just to watch. He came ready to speak. Dressed in a dark suit and moving with the steady confidence of someone who's seen it all, Suge carried a quiet power that instantly changed the mood of the trial. He sat down, scanned the room, and then locked eyes with Diddy. That look, short and sharp, sent a wave of unease through everyone there. It was clear something serious was coming. What made Suge's presence even more shocking wasn't just the long, bitter history between him and Diddy. It was the fact that Suge doesn't show up to major cases without a reason. And if he does, it's almost always personal. So the big question was, why now? Why, after all these years, after years of saying nothing about Diddy, why would Suge suddenly show up at this trial? Many think it's fueled by deep, lingering resentment toward his longtime rival. Others believe it might be a strategic move to bring attention back to himself and his legacy. Whatever the reason, one thing was certain. Suge backing Cassie publicly was a bold move no one expected. When he finally stood to speak, the room fell completely silent. There were no outbursts, no drama, just a calm, steady voice. He spoke, with purpose, choosing his words carefully. From the moment he addressed the court, he focused on the need for accountability, and gave a chilling hint that he knew more about Diddy's. Suge hinted at knowing more about Diddy's past than most people could imagine. Without naming names or sharing exact details, he urged the court and the public to look at the bigger picture, calling it industry skeletons. His tone was steady, but every word landed heavy, leaving people wondering just how much he really knew and why he chose now to speak up. Was this just a move to get back at Diddy, or did Suge truly believe in Cassie's fight? Given their long, bitter history, it's easy to assume revenge, but something in his voice said it wasn't just that. Maybe it was personal, but maybe he also held pieces of the truth that could change everything for Cassie. One thing was obvious. Suge's presence proved this trial wasn't only about law, it was about uncovering long-buried truths. And just when it seemed like he might end his speech with vague warnings, Suge dropped a line that set the room on fire. It wasn't just support for Cassie. It was a direct accusation about Diddy's past, and that's when everything really began to unravel.
I'm in prison right now. I had a great run. So I don't go mad. I don't wake up mad. I've been locked up for 10 years, and I ain't had a bad day yet. And it's a lot of things we can do to help each other, and it's never too late for help. God blessed us to have a voice. Let's use our voice. I had told Puffy a while back. I told T.D. Jackson a while back. Come on, collect calls. We can politic. Because one thing for certain, one thing for sure, he's just not going to walk away with one scratch on it.
Do you think?
Like that.
Do you think that Diddy?
He can do so.
Do you think Diddy knows enough that it's a very delicate balance that maybe investigators will want to know these other names and greatly reduce his exposure to criminality, to time, versus what people would do to keep him quiet?
Number one, I've been knowing him a long time, and we was friends. We're not enemies, but we were friends. He's not a dummy, so he's smart enough to work his magic. On top of that, this man right here, he been involved with the FBI for most of his career. It's not like he don't have no moves. So I don't think nobody should just count him out. I don't think he gonna lay down and just crawl in the corner and die. He probably going through a lot of shit right now because he probably going through a lot of withdrawals for the drugs. But the industry got him on drugs. And see, they do these things to take control. They're not doing, there's nothing wrong with being gay. If you choose to be gay, that's your preference. But they're doing this to people for control. It's a power situation.
Suge.
And they've been having the power of the, yes.
I appreciate your perspective on this. And I just want to get something very clear, because if what you're saying is true, and I'm not questioning your credibility, I can't assess it. True. I don't know. So
right.
Then he's got people who are the biggest names in the business who helped him.
I ain't trying to cut you off, but if any of those people I mentioned don't have no drinks and don't do no powder with them, you'll find out. I don't want you to be right.
The courtroom went completely still as Suge Knight slowly stood to deliver his statement. Everyone was already tense after his shocking decision to support Cassie, but no one was ready for what came next. Diddy, clearly unsettled since Suge's entrance, leaned forward slightly, elbows on the table. His composure was gone. His jaw was clenched, eyes locked on the man who had been his rival for decades. Whatever Suge was about to say, Diddy knew it wouldn't be good. Suge began slowly, his voice low but strong enough to quiet the soft whispers in the gallery. He didn't bother with small talk. He went straight in, claiming Diddy's reputation in the industry wasn't as clean as it seemed. Suge said there were things that had gone on in the background, things most people wouldn't dare talk about. And then with the kind of bluntness only Suge could deliver, he directly accused Diddy of orchestrating serious misconduct to protect his empire. The courtroom froze. Suge claimed Diddy's success wasn't just the result of talent or sharp business moves, but something far more disturbing. He spoke of patterns of control and hinted that others might soon step forward with stories of their own. No one moved. The accusations, though vague, were heavy enough to set the room on edge. Suge didn't point to exact moments, but he spoke of a history of threats and behind-the-scenes pressure that matched long-whispered rumors in the industry. Dropping this bomb during a trial built on Cassie's explosive claims made it impossible to ignore. And it wasn't just the timing. It was the way Suge said it. He didn't sound like someone guessing. He sounded like someone who knew. Now, to be fair, Suge Knight isn't always seen as a trustworthy figure. His past is tangled with legal trouble, bold claims, and a tendency to stir chaos when it suits him. Over the years, he's hurled wild accusations at Diddy and others, most of which have been dismissed as hype or flat-out lies. But this time felt different. It wasn't a loud attack. It was sharp, quiet, and perfectly timed to mirror the exact story Cassie's team had. What came next was pure chaos. Diddy froze, staring at Suge, with a face that mixed shock and disbelief. His lawyers quickly jumped in, objecting to parts of Suge's statement, calling it irrelevant. But Diddy didn't stay quiet. Witnesses say he shook his head and whispered fiercely to his legal team. He wasn't yelling, "Not yet," but it was clear his calm was breaking fast. As Suge kept talking, Diddy became more restless, moving sharply and losing control. At one point he even waved Suge off, a move his lawyers hurried to stop. The media couldn't get enough. By the next break, headlines screamed, "Suge Knight accuses Diddy of industry cover-ups," and "Diddy loses," cool as Suge drops accusations. People were divided. Some saw Suge as just stirring old fights to stay relevant, but others noted how his words hit deep. Suge's words hit a raw nerve, not just with Diddy, but with everyone watching. Social media exploded with debates about whether more people would come forward with their own claims. No one knows how much the jury was affected, but the mood in the room shifted completely after Suge's accusations. You could feel the weight of the moment. Cassie's legal team looked stronger, as if Suge had handed them a powerful advantage. Meanwhile, Diddy's lawyers scrambled to change the story, but the truth was clear. The trial had taken a new, darker turn. Suge's words were sharp and simple. For years, this man has controlled the illusion. But truth comes for everyone eventually. That's when the courtroom exploded. Diddy finally lost control like never before. His face went red, all calm gone, as he slammed his hands on the table and muttered loud enough to make security tense. This was no longer just about Cassie's case. Suge had taken it deeper, striking at the heart of Diddy's carefully built image. "I don't care."
I don't care who you are. Prison and jail is a negative environment. If somebody can do something to them and get a name for themselves, they're going to actually do it. Or if they can do whatever they feel they got to do to prove themselves. But we also got to learn. We got to learn from our mistakes. Everything don't have to be a mistake. You got to better yourself. But we all know what we sign up for in life. So if I sign up to be a football player, I knew I'm going to get hit and I'm going to hurt some others too. I signed up to be in the music business and the entertainment business. If you factor right and being a black man, there's certain things you got to look at for the challenges.
You understand? But you got to keep your head on the swivel and keep that thing on you at all times. Because if it got to go down, it should go down in a kamikaze fashion. So Suge Knight, they get a call. Yo, Suge look like he by himself. Y'all could probably get there. See now, I know it's got to be the drugs with Puff.
Cassie stayed calm, sitting quietly at her table, focused straight ahead. She barely reacted to the chaos around her. People watching noticed her strong but quiet way of handling things, as if she was determined not to let the drama affect her. While Diddy fidgeted and lost his cool, Cassie remained steady, almost distant in how she faced it all. For someone caught in the middle of such a wild case, her calm was surprising. But when Suge Knight walked in, when Suge walked into the courtroom, something changed. Cassie's calm no longer felt like silence, but a clear strategy. As Suge stood to speak, all eyes turned to her. Was this surprise or part of a bigger plan? Either way, her steady reaction was powerful. While whispers spread through the room, she stayed composed, her face unreadable. No shock, no sign she was caught off guard. If anything, she seemed ready for this moment. Sitting straight and still, she showed quiet confidence, even as Suge's words filled the room. His statement carried heavy weight, but its biggest effect was how it shifted the courtroom in Cassie's favor. Trials aren't just about facts, they're about how things look. With someone like Suge Knight, known for his own drama, backing her, Cassie's claims against Diddy suddenly felt much stronger. It's rare for someone like Suge to step up, and when Suge said, "This person's story matters," it gave Cassie's case a new weight that couldn't be ignored. What might have seemed like just another she said fight suddenly felt much bigger. Cassie's lawyers clearly gained energy from Suge's support. His words opened the door to explore a wider history of industry behavior, not just what Cassie went through. By standing with her, Suge gave her team a powerful tool. They could now argue that Cassie's claims weren't alone, but part of a pattern that others might know or fear. For Diddy, already struggling to stay calm, the pressure grew even more. When Suge walked in, you could see the worry on Diddy's face. But Cassie? She didn't show a single sign of fear. Outside the courtroom, Suge's sudden move shook the entertainment world. Public opinions were split. Some were supportive, others skeptical. On social media, fans and celebrities shared their thoughts. Many praised Cassie for staying strong through a tough time, now backed by Suge's powerful support. Others wondered if Suge was just using the moment to boost himself and stir up old fights with Diddy. But no matter what people thought about Suge's reasons, one thing was clear. His support for Cassie changed the game. And let's be honest, strong endorsements like this can flip the story. When big names like when Suge Knight stepped in, it made everyone pay closer attention. People who once doubted Cassie's story started wondering why Suge, someone with no clear loyalty to her before, was now standing by her. It made them question what else might come out. Was Suge just revealing the tip of a much bigger story? This extra pressure meant Cassie's voice, already strong, would now carry even more weight. But Suge's support came with risks. His past is full of scandals, and Diddy's team would likely use that against him. They might say this is all a stunt, not real support. Still, no matter how people see Suge, his decision to speak changed how everyone views the trial. It's no longer just about Cassie's claims, it's about who else might step up with their own stories about Diddy's past. Through it all, Cassie stayed calm. She didn't celebrate or lose control, giving nothing for Diddy or his team to attack. Her calm showed a shift in power in the courtroom, one that now clearly favored her. The power in the courtroom had clearly shifted to Cassie's side. With Suge Knight turning the story around, the whole trial felt like it had changed. Diddy was left struggling to take back control. What happens next is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The balance of power has moved, and Cassie's calm strength is making that change even stronger.
Do you believe that Diddy is in danger in prison, and do you have advice for him based on what you just said?
Well, the first advice I have, I don't never want to say he's in danger, and neither should he say that. Because once he gets to the point where they feel he's going to be suicidal to himself, harmful to himself, once they put him on suicide watch, you have the rights to nothing. No socks, no drawers, no T-shirt, no blanket, no sheets. You so naked in a cell as a crazy man. So he definitely don't want to do that. And the other advice I would tell him, maybe he should get on the Jewish diet.
Because Puff may have sent somebody, Puff might tell somebody, But for him to put on all black himself and go to do something like that, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Y'all ain't hear what I'm saying. The Puff that I knew would tell Wolf to do something, will tell Riz to do something, had him tell Paul to tell Tottenham to do something.
Diddy built his image as one of hip-hop's biggest moguls, a smooth operator who turned Bad Boy Records into a powerhouse, launched untouchable artists, and constantly reinvented himself as a businessman, producer, and cultural icon. From hit songs to billion-dollar ventures in fashion and liquor, he was known for success, power, and resilience. He wasn't just an artist, he was a brand. But now, that carefully built legacy is on the brink. The courtroom tension, his meltdown caught on camera, and Suge Knight's shocking accusations are shaking everything we thought we knew about him. Courtroom drama alone is serious, but when someone like Suge Knight steps in, the stakes become much higher. For Diddy, this isn't just about Cassie's legal claims, it's about how people see him, trust him, and the very image he spent years creating. Over time, he built a reputation for control, calm leadership, and staying cool under pressure. This trial, and especially his clear reaction to Suge's accusations, threatened to undo that story. People aren't just judging what he's doing now, they're re-examining his entire career with new eyes. And we've seen before what happens when public figures face moments like this. Think Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein, once respected, now forever linked to scandal. Scandals like those didn't just hurt Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein's close circles, they shook their entire legacies, businesses, and the media that once praised them. Could Diddy be next? The comparisons are hard to ignore. No one says his story is exactly the same, but this public meltdown combined with Suge's accusations is a huge turning point. Public opinion is already shifting on social media. Long times, fans are split. Some defend Diddy, saying fame always brings attacks, while others are pulling away, calling this trial a wake-up call for the whole industry. Even inside celebrity circles, the reaction is mixed. A few famous people have made vague comments about accountability and transparency but haven't named Diddy directly. It feels like everyone is waiting to see what happens before picking sides. And the media? The headlines have been harsh, painting Diddy is clearly starting to fall apart under pressure. Every tense moment in the courtroom is being watched closely. From his body language to his quiet talks with his lawyers. Now with Suge Knight showing up, the story has gotten even more complicated. Reporters aren't just covering Cassie's case anymore. They're digging into Diddy's past, reopening old rumors, and uncovering industry secrets that were once kept quiet. This isn't just a trial now, it's a full look at Diddy's entire legacy. Once you lose control of your story, it's almost impossible to take it back. And here's the twist. Suge Knight's accusations aren't just shocking. They've started conversations that didn't happen before. Could Suge's words lead to new investigations into Diddy's past? Suge hinted that this isn't the first time, and probably won't be the last, that Diddy has faced these kinds of claims. If more people speak up, this trial could turn into something much bigger than anyone expected. Even if Suge's trustworthiness is in question, just taking his side publicly is enough to make people look closer at the whole industry. So what happens now? Diddy has a tough choice: fight in public or settle quietly. Settling might make fans wonder if he's hiding something, while fighting means staying in the spotlight longer and facing more questions. Either way, the damage could already be done. This trial is starting to unravel the careful image he's built. What's unraveling isn't pretty, and it all comes down to Diddy's courtroom meltdown, Suge Knight's surprise involvement, and Cassie's steady calm. This trial isn't just about contracts or rivalries. It's about the truth finally coming out, and whether a man once seen as untouchable can survive his own fall. With so much at stake, no one will walk away from this without facing consequences. This is more than courtroom drama. It's a fight to rewrite reputations. Diddy's carefully built legacy is now under a microscope, with Cassie's claims and Suge Knight's shocking role raising serious questions about what really lies beneath his empire. The stakes have never been higher. As more secrets emerge, one question remains: what else will come to light, and how will it change everything we thought we knew? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And remember, this is just the start. Stay tuned as this celebrity saga keeps shaking Hollywood's core.